So in this video, we're going to be having a look at a cash flow forecast. Now, a cash flow forecast, like a weather forecast, where you're trying to predict what the weather's going to be like. A cash flow forecast, you're trying to predict what money's going to be coming in. So cash inflows and cash outflows of the business, money that's going to be coming in and going out, okay? So this one's with the wedding example again. And we can see here on this cash flow forecast that in the month of June, they've got total inflows of £3,280, and they've worked that out by adding together all of the inflows into the business. So this person has taken wedding photographs, which have brought him £1,970 of income, and other photographs that have brought them £1,310 of income, which is totaled up to make £3,280 of inflows. So that's money into the business. Okay, so then we carry on down the June column, and we're going to go to total outflows. So that's money that's been going out of the business. So they've paid some salaries out. So those salaries are going to mean that there's less money in the business. They've purchased some equipment for £3,200, maybe a new camera or something along those lines. And they've got other costs of £1,160. And all of those are going to total up to equal £5,360 of total outflow from the business. So that's cash going out of the business in June. Okay, so let's move on to July, because that's where we've actually been asked to fill some things out to get some marks. Okay, so the first 2 marks are in July. So the first thing we need to do is work out what the total inflows are. So we need to know, the first thing we need to work out is what the other photographs have brought in terms of cash inflow. So we've got £2,910, and we need to know what figure needs to go here to equal £4,050 total inflows. So we're going to take £4,050 and we're going to knock off £2,910, which is going to give us a total of £1,140. So we're going to put £1,140 in here. And now, just to check our answer, we know that we can add together £2,910 and £1,140, and it's going to equal £4,050. So we know that that answer is correct, and we can move on to the next mark. So the next thing we've been asked to do is calculate the total outflows in July. So we've got £1,000 of salary, £1,280 of other costs. We haven't purchased any equipment in July, so that one's blanked out. And that means our total outflows are £2,280. Now the final row, we've been asked to calculate the net cash flow, and this is for August. So you'll notice that in the previous months, the net cash flow is equal to the total inflows minus total outflows, and that equals the net cash flow. So that's how you work out net cash flow. It's total inflows minus total outflows, and that is equal to net cash flow. Total inflows minus total outflows equals net cash flow. So for the last one then, for August, we're going to calculate net cash flow, and we're going to take the total inflows of £4,630. Let's get rid of all of this. £4,630, and we're going to knock off, so £4,630 total inflows, and we're going to knock off the total outflow in August of £2,940. And that is going to be equal to, let's just work this one out, £1,690. Okay, again, you're going to have a calculator for this, so please make sure you're using it throughout the exam. So £1,690. and that will be our net cash flow for August. So there we've got all three of our marks. So let's move on to a question with opening balance in it, because you may be asked to calculate the opening or closing balance on a given month. So let's have a look at this one. So the question here is, what is the closing balance for July? So we know, because they've already calculated it for us, that our opening balance was £1,000. So we started the month with £1,000. So that was the opening balance at the start of the month. And during the month, we have actually lost £1,200 in cash. So that's because the total inflows are less than the total outflows. So to work out net cash flow, we do total inflows of £2,320 and we minus off the total outflows of £3,520, and that will give us the net cash flow of minus 1,200 in this case. So we know then that to work out the closing balance, what we need to do is take the opening balance and we need to knock off the net cash flow for the month because it's a negative. So this month we've actually made a negative amount of cash flow, so negative net cash flow. So we're just going to knock off £1,200, and that is going to give us minus £200 left over at the end of the month. Now you can check that because actually the money carries forward into August. So at the end of July, you've got minus £200, and then at the start of August, of course, you've still got minus £200. So if you didn't want to calculate it that way, you can always look at the next month and take the opening balance from the previous month, from the next month, and bring it back. So that's one way that you can actually get that figure without having to calculate it yourself. But it's good to know that the closing balance is equal to the opening balance, and then you add on or knock off the net cash flow depending on what you've made in that month. Okay, so let's move on to August then. So in August we had total inflows of 2,200 and we had total outflows of 2,275. So we're going to take our 2,200 and we're going to knock off £2,275, and that is going to give us a net cash flow of minus £75, because we've actually had cash, £75 more cash going out than coming in. So our opening balance was minus £200. However, our new closing balance is now minus 275. So we can check that. So we know that minus 75, and then we've got minus £200 to start with. So now we've got minus £275. Okay, so let's move on to the final bit of the question. So we've got our net cash flow here of 140, and just like the other questions, sometimes you're going to be asked what figure needs to go in the middle here, so that you can actually get to the figure at the bottom. So in this case, we've got total inflows of 2,150, and we need to work out what the total outflows are going to be in order to get to the net cash flow of £140. So we need to work that out. So we're going to do £2,150, and we're going to knock off £140, which gives us £2,010. So we know then that we need to knock off the outflows from the inflows. So we've got £2,150 total inflows, which is here, and we need to knock off the total outflows of £2,010 as we just calculated, and that'll leave us with £140. And then our original opening balance was minus £275. So because we've got a positive net cash flow, we've had more money in than out this month, we just need to add that on, which will leave us with minus £135 as our closing balance.